The last resistance. Commander Maya Chen pressed her body against the crumbling concrete wall, her breath forming small clouds in the frigid air. The ruins of what was once Shanghai stretched before her, a graveyard of human civilization. Skeletal skyscrapers reached toward a sky that no longer belonged to humanity. Through her tactical visor, she could see the biomechanical silhouettes of Vexari patrol ships cutting through the low clouds, their hulls glinting with an iridescent sheen that still fascinated her even after 5 years of war. Clear for the next 2 minutes came the whispered voice of Dario through her neural comm. Her tech specialist had rigged a system that could briefly predict Vexari patrol patterns, one of the few advantages they had left. Maya signaled to the 6 survivors crouched behind her. They moved as one, a well-rehearsed dance of survival across the debris-strewn plaza. Their mission was simple: scavenge medical supplies from the abandoned hospital complex. Their reality was harder: stay alive long enough to keep the resistance from collapsing entirely. The Vexari had appeared 3 years ago, their massive ships materializing above Earth's major cities with no warning. Humanity's united defense lasted exactly 27 days. The aliens hadn't come to communicate or negotiate. They had come to claim. Their technology made human military efforts look like children throwing rocks. Quantum-based weapons systems, bioorganic ship designs that could self-repair, and neural networks that could predict and counter human tactics before they were even implemented. Now, fewer than 200 million humans remained scattered across Earth, with perhaps another million in hidden colonies throughout the solar system. The rest, gone. Not all dead. The Vexari weren't interested in extermination, but processed, integrated into their collective as a subservient worker class, their minds partially wiped and rewired for compliance. Movement at your 3 o'clock. Dario's voice crackled in her ear. Stalker-class hunter drone. Maya froze, signaling her team to take cover. The Stalker drones were the worst, designed specifically to hunt remaining human resistance fighters. They combined advanced AI with biological components harvested from processed humans. Each one could track human biosignatures through concrete and metal, filtering out background radiation with terrifying precision. The drone hovered just 30 meters away, its sensory tendrils pulsing with an eerie bioluminescence as it scanned the area. Maya held her breath, trusting in the experimental cloaking tech it salvaged from a fallen science outpost. The drone paused, its central processing core, disturbingly resembling the human brain suspended in luminescent fluid, pulsed rapidly. For a terrible moment, Maya thought it had detected them. Then, responding to some distant command, it altered course and moved away, disappearing around a collapsed building. "That was too close," whispered Lion, her second in command. The former physicist had lost her entire family during the Sydney Purge. "We need to move faster." They reached the hospital in record time, spreading out to gather supplies. Maya kept watch by a shattered window, scanning the horizon. The Vexari command ship dominated the view, an enormous structure hovering above the ruins of downtown Shanghai. Unlike their sleek patrol vessels, the command ship was a hulking mass of biological and mechanical components fused together in ways that defied human engineering understanding. Tendrils of energy occasionally pulsed along its surface like veins carrying luminescent blood. "Commander, you need to see this." The urgent whisper came from Kai, their archivist and historical specialist. He'd wandered into the hospital's administrative section, drawn to any potential data storage systems that might have survived. Maya followed him into what had once been the hospital director's office. Behind a fallen bookcase, Kai had discovered a hidden door, its security system still operational despite the building's overall ruin. "It's a pre-invasion security system," Kai explained, his fingers dancing across the antiquated keypad. "Military grade, but not connected to any network the Vexari could have compromised." The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a narrow stairwell leading downward. Emergency lights flickered to life, powered by some isolated generator system. "Should we call the others?" Kai asked. Maya considered for a moment. "No. Finish gathering the supplies. Lion, you're with me. The rest continue as planned and be ready to move out in 10 minutes. The stairwell descended deep below the hospital, much deeper than any standard facility would require. After nearly 200 steps, they reached another door, this one bearing the faded insignia of the Pan-Asian Scientific Cooperative, a research organization that had been disbanded years before the invasion. I had no idea this was here, Lion whispered, her scientific curiosity visibly piqued. The second door required both retinal and palm scans, but surprisingly, it accepted Lion's credentials. I worked on a joint project with them years ago, she explained, looking as surprised as Maya felt. The space beyond defied explanation. Despite being beneath a ruined hospital in conquered territory, the research facility was intact, powered, and appeared untouched by the war raging above. Clean white surfaces, operational computer systems, and advanced research equipment filled the space. This place has been shielded, Lion said in awe, moving toward the nearest terminal. Some kind of experimental quantum field. The Vexari scanning technology can't penetrate it. Maya's tactical mind immediately grasped the implications. A potential base of operations, or at least a secure location to. It's more than that, Lion interrupted, her eyes widening as she scanned through files on the terminal. Maya, this was a top-secret research facility dedicated to studying quantum entanglement technologies. The same fundamental principles that power Vexari systems. At the center of the laboratory stood a sealed chamber, its walls transparent but clearly reinforced. Inside, suspended in a containment field, was an object unlike anything Maya had seen before. About the size of a human heart, it appeared to be both metal and not metal simultaneously, its surface shifting between solid matter and energy in a way that hurt the eyes to observe directly. "What is that?" Maya asked, approaching the chamber cautiously. Lian was now fully engrossed in the terminal data. They called it the quantum core, a theoretical technology that never made it past initial development when funding was cut, or so the public was told. Her voice trembled with barely contained excitement. According to these files, they achieved a breakthrough just 3 months before the invasion. This device can establish quantum links with any sufficiently advanced technology, creating pathways to control, disrupt, or even reprogram those systems. Maya stared at the shifting object. "You're saying this thing could potentially interface with Vexari tech, control their ships, their weapons?" "In theory, yes," Lion nodded. "The scientists here were developing it as the ultimate cybersecurity tool, capable of establishing supremacy over any computing system, no matter how advanced. But they couldn't fully stabilize it or create a suitable interface." A slow smile spread across Maya's face, the first genuine smile in years. "So we have a potential super weapon against the Vexari, but no way to use it." "Not exactly," came a voice from behind them. Maya spun, weapon raised, to find an elderly man standing in a doorway she hadn't noticed before. His lab coat was worn but clean, his eyes bright despite his obvious age. "Dr. Weizhong," he said with a slight bow. "Lead quantum physicist and the last surviving member of Project Prometheus. You've been down here for 3 years?" Maya asked incredulously. The old scientist nodded. "The quantum shield keeps this facility hidden from Vexari sensors, and I've maintained the automated systems. I've been waiting for someone from the Resistance to find this place." He looked directly at Lion, particularly someone with the right kind of scientific background. "The right background," Lion echoed. "To help complete what we started," Dr. Zhang explained, gesturing toward the quantum core. "We developed the hardware, but the control mechanism, the interface between human operator and quantum technology, remained unsolved." He paused, studying Lion carefully. "Your work on neural quantum interfaces at Singapore University was promising. With your expertise, we might finally activate the quantum core." Maya's tactical calm crackled to life. "Commander," came Dario's urgent voice. "Multiple stalker drones converging on the hospital. They're using a new search pattern. I think they detected our entry. How long do we have? Maya demanded. Minutes, maybe less, Dario replied. We need to move now. Maya looked between the scientist and the mysterious quantum core. Dr. Zhang, we need to evacuate you and take whatever data we can carry. If the Vexari find this facility, they won't detect it, Zhang insisted. But they might detect you leaving if you don't time it properly. He turned to a wall panel and pressed his palm against it. A hidden compartment opened, revealing what looked like a neural headset, similar to standard military comm gear, but far more complex. This is the prototype interface, he explained. Incomplete, but functional enough for basic connectivity with the core. Take it. Study it. Find a way to complete it. Lose to hope. Lion carefully packed the interface while Maya downloaded as much research data as she could onto a secure drive. The quantum core itself was too well secured to move quickly, and Dr. Zhang insisted it needed to remain in its containment field. I'll continue my work here, the old scientist said firmly when Maya suggested he leave with them. I'm too old to be running with the resistance, and someone needs to maintain this facility. It may be our last chance. Reluctantly, Maya agreed. They established a secure communication protocol and promised to return once they'd studied the data and prototype. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Zhang handed Maya a small device. Emergency quantum beacon. If you activate it, I'll know you've succeeded in developing the interface, or that you need emergency extraction into the facility. They rejoined the team above and evacuated just as the first stalker drones entered the hospital's lower levels. Their escape was narrow, requiring them to split up and use multiple diversion tactics before finally regrouping at their hidden base in the ruins of an underground train station. That night, as Lian began examining the neural interface and data, Maya stood watch at their perimeter, her eyes fixed on the distant glow of Vexari ships. For 3 years, humanity had been fighting a losing battle against an enemy they couldn't hope to match technologically. For 3 years, resistance had meant little more than survival. Now, for the first time since the invasion began, Maya allowed herself to feel something dangerously close to hope. The quantum core might just give humanity a fighting chance if they could unlock its secrets before the Vexari wiped out what remained of the resistance. In her quarters, Lion let out a startled gasp as the neural interface suddenly activated, projecting a holographic message. Prototype neural linkage. Subject compatibility assessment initiated. The scan washed over her, and the message changed. Compatible neural architecture detected. Commencing integration protocol. HFY. The room filled with light as the interface began to transform. The quantum advantage. Lian's scream brought Maya rushing into the lab. Weapon drawn. The sight froze her in place. Lian sat rigid in her chair, the neural interface now physically connected to her temples by filaments of pulsing light. Her eyes were open but unseeing, rapidly shifting as though processing immense amounts of information. What happened? Maya demanded as Dario rushed in behind her. I don't know. The tech specialist moved cautiously toward the equipment. The interface just activated on its own. It's integrating with her neural pathways. Maya reached for the device, intending to pull it off, but Dario caught her wrist. Don't. Forced disconnection could cause permanent brain damage. For 7 agonizing minutes, they watched helplessly as Lion remained locked in silent communion with the technology. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the light filaments retracted. The interface detached itself and fell into Lion's lap as she slumped forward, gasping. Lian. Maya rushed to support her friend. Are you all right? What happened? When Lian looked up, her eyes had changed. Faint traces of the same luminescence that had connected her to the interface now flickered in her irises. But more striking was her expression, a mixture of awe and determination that Maya hadn't seen since before the invasion. It's alive, Lian whispered. The quantum core. It's not just technology. It's a sentient system. She straightened, her movements suddenly precise and deliberate. It calls itself NetAXUS. The scientists at the facility created an artificial intelligence based on quantum computing principles, but it evolved beyond their original parameters. Is it controlling you? Maya asked warily, her hand resting on her weapon. Lion shook her head. No. We're connected. NetAXUS needed a human mind to complete its neural architecture. It was designed that way, intentionally, a safeguard to ensure it would work with humanity, not against us. She touched her temple gently. I understand it now, Maya. I understand how it works, what it can do. She rose and moved to the main terminal, her fingers flying across the interface with new precision. NetAXUS can establish quantum entanglement links with any advanced technology, including Vexari systems. Dario looked skeptical. That's impossible. Their tech operates on principles we barely understand. That's just it, Lion replied, her eyes never leaving the screen. They're using quantum principles similar to what our scientists were developing, just far more advanced. NetAXUS was designed to bridge those gaps, to learn, adapt, and ultimately control any quantum-based technology. Maya processed this information slowly, the tactical implications unfolding in her mind. Are you saying we could potentially take control of their ships, their weapons? Eventually, Lion confirmed. But first, we need to establish a stronger connection to the quantum core itself. This interface is just a limited prototype. To fully utilize NetAXUS's capabilities, we need direct access to a Vexari quantum network node. You want us to infiltrate a Vexari installation? Dario asked incredulously. Maya was already considering the possibilities. There's secondary command relay near the old financial district. It's the most lightly guarded of their major installations. Exactly, Lion nodded. With a small team, we could access their network, and NetAXUS could establish a foothold in their systems. Within 8 hours, Maya had assembled a strike team of her most capable fighters. The plan was risky but straightforward. Use the limited capabilities NetAXUS already provided to temporarily mask their approach, infiltrate the relay station, and create a direct connection between the neural interface and the Vexari quantum network. As they prepared for the mission, Maya pulled Lion aside. Are you sure about this? The way that thing connected to you. How do we know it won't betray us to the Vexari? Lion's altered eyes met Maya's steadily. NetAXUS was created by humans, specifically to counter threats like the Vexari. Its core directive is the preservation of humanity. She hesitated. But you're right to be cautious. That's why both of us need to go. You to watch my back, and me to make the connection. Supreme Overseer Calvor moved through the command chamber of the Vexari flagship, his exoskeleton clicking softly against the bioorganic floor. The conquest of Earth had been efficient, as expected, though the persistent human resistance was becoming an irritant. Not a threat. Nothing the primitive species could devise would truly threaten Vexari dominion, but an inefficiency in the integration process. Status report, he commanded, his thoughts translating directly into the ship's neural network. A three-dimensional projection materialized before him, displaying the current state of Earth's integration. Nearly 60% of the remaining human population had been processed, their neural patterns adjusted to serve as effective labor units. Resource extraction was proceeding at acceptable rates. The planet's mineral wealth and biological diversity were being systematically cataloged and harvested. Resistance activity has increased by 7% in Sector 12, reported Sub-Commander Tevril, her exoskeleton more compact than Calvor's, signifying her lower status. A scout patrol went offline 3 solar cycles ago. Calvor's sensory appendages twitched in annoyance. Dispatch additional hunter drones. I want that sector swept thoroughly. As he turned to leave, a subtle disturbance rippled through the ship's quantum communication network, a momentary fluctuation so brief that most would have dismissed it as normal system variation. But Calvor had commanded this vessel for over 200 cycles. He knew its rhythms intimately. Analyze recent network irregularities. He ordered the ship's central intelligence. No significant anomalies detected, came the immediate response. Calvor remained unconvinced. Something had changed. Something small, but potentially significant. He issued a silent command, raising security protocols across all Earth-based installations. The humans were becoming more resourceful. Perhaps it was time to accelerate the final phase of integration. Maya's team moved through the ruined streets with unprecedented stealth. The neural interface, now worn by Lion, was already proving its worth. It emitted a field that somehow confused Vexeri sensors, making the team appear as nothing more than ambient radiation patterns. Two patrol drones approaching from the east. Lion whispered, her enhanced perception detecting the Vexeri machines before they came into visual range. Ne-XUS is masking our signatures, but we should still take cover. They ducked into the hollowed-out remains of a bank building as the drones passed overhead, their sensory tendrils sweeping the area, but failing to detect the humans hiding below. The Vexeri relay station rose before them, a twisted spire of alien architecture that looked almost cancerous against the Earth skyline. Unlike the elegant lines of their ships, their ground installations grew from specialized spores, consuming existing structures and reforming them into biomechanical hybrids that served their needs. 3 external sentries and an automated defense grid. Maya observed through her tactical visor. Can any XUS do anything about the grid? Lian closed her eyes briefly, communing with the AI through the interface. Yes, but only temporarily. Once we make our move, we'll have less than 5 minutes before the system registers the intrusion and adapts. 5 minutes to get in, establish the connection, and get out. Maya confirmed. Tight, but doable. The assault was precision itself. Ne-XUS temporarily confused the automated defenses, creating a blind spot just large enough for the team to slip through. Inside, they encountered minimal resistance. 2 Vexeri technicians who were quickly neutralized with silent, targeted shots. The central relay chamber was a marvel of alien technology, pulsing organic components intertwined with crystalline structures that defied human engineering principles. At the center stood the quantum communication node, a column of shifting energy patterns contained within a transparent cylinder. This is it, Lion whispered, approaching the node with reverence. The direct link to their entire Earth-based network. She removed the neural interface from her head and attached it to a specialized connector they had designed based on the schematics from Dr. Zhang's facility. The moment the connection was established, the room's lighting flickered, and an eerie harmonic resonance filled the air. Something's wrong, Dario warned, monitoring their perimeter. Security systems just went into overdrive. We've been detected. Lion stood transfixed before the node, her eyes now blazing with the same energy patterns visible in the alien technology. Not yet, she said, her voice overlaid with a harmonic quality that hadn't been there before. Ne-XUS is establishing the quantum bridge. 30 more seconds. Maya could hear the approaching whine of Vexeri security drones. We don't have 30 seconds. Yes, we do, Lion replied with strange certainty. She raised her hand toward the approaching threat. And to Maya's astonishment, the security drones suddenly froze in midair, their systems going dormant. How? It's working, Lion interrupted, a look of wonder crossing her face. Ne-XUS has established dominance over local Vexeri systems. It's spreading through their network, learning, adapting. She disconnected the interface and replaced it on her head. We need to move. Now. The effect is temporary, and they'll dispatch reinforcements soon. Their escape was surreal. Vexeri security measures seemed to malfunction around them. Doors opening when they should have sealed, drones moving away from rather than toward their position. It was as if the entire facility was actively helping them escape. Once safely back at their base, Lion explained what had happened. Ne-XUS didn't just establish a connection. It inserted quantum algorithms into their network. Subtle changes that give us backdoor access to certain systems. Not control, not yet, but influence. How far does this influence extend? Maya asked. Currently, just local systems around that relay station. But NEXUS is designed to grow exponentially. Lion's enhanced eyes gleamed with excitement. It's already building a more sophisticated understanding of Vexari technology. With each new system it accesses, it becomes more effective. Dario looked troubled. Are we sure we can control this thing? If it can hack alien tech this easily? NEXUS isn't just hacking. Lion corrected him. It's establishing quantum entanglement at the most fundamental level. And yes, it's safe. Its core architecture requires human partnership. It literally cannot function at full capacity without a human operator. Over the next 3 weeks, the impact of their mission became increasingly apparent. Resistance cells around the globe reported Vexari patrols missing their positions, security systems failing at critical moments, communication disruptions giving humans precious time to relocate their hidden bases. Through the neural interface, Lion worked tirelessly with NEXUS to expand its influence throughout the Vexari network. She developed a simplified version of the interface that could be replicated with available technology, allowing other resistance cells to connect to the growing quantum web NEXUS was establishing. Maya watched as humanity's fortunes began to shift, slowly but unmistakably. Small victories accumulated. A Vexari processing center's security grid failed completely, allowing 300 humans awaiting neural adjustment to escape. A supply convoy was redirected into an ambush. Intelligence about Vexari movements became increasingly accurate. It's time for the next phase, Lion announced one evening, after a particularly successful operation had yielded a cache of advanced Vexari weapons. NEXUS has mapped enough of their network structure to attempt direct control of a major system. What's the target? Maya asked. Their atmospheric defense grid. If we can control it even temporarily, resistance ships hiding in the asteroid belt could return to Earth. We could consolidate our forces. The operation was set for dawn. Through the expanded network of interfaces now deployed across the globe, NEXUS would attempt simultaneous infiltration of multiple Vexari defense nodes, creating a cascading failure that would temporarily blind their orbital security systems. As the appointed hour approached, Maya found Lion standing alone on their base's observation platform, staring up at the faint outline of a Vexari command ship visible through the polluted sky. Having second thoughts? Maya asked. Lion shook her head. NEXUS has shown me their civilization, Maya. Through their own databanks. The Vexari have done this before, conquered and subjugated dozens of species across multiple star systems. She turned, her enhanced eyes somber. They see themselves as gardeners, pruning the galaxy of what they consider inefficient life forms. And us? How do they see humans? As particularly stubborn weeds, Lion said with a grim smile. But they've never encountered a species that developed something like NEXUS. They've never had their own technology turned against them so fundamentally. She paused. After tomorrow, everything changes. They'll know we're not just resisting. We're fighting back with real power. Good, Maya said firmly. It's time they learned humans don't surrender easily. In his command chamber, Supreme Overseer Calvor jolted from his regeneration cycle as emergency signals cascaded through his neural link. Something impossible was happening. Across Earth's atmosphere, Vexari defense systems were failing, their quantum encryption suddenly compromised. Report, he demanded, his exoskeleton expanding in alarm. Unknown quantum intrusion detected in primary systems. The ship's intelligence responded. Pattern suggests human origin. Impossible, Calvor hissed. Their technology is primitive. But the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, the humans had developed or discovered technology capable of interfacing directly with Vexari quantum systems. As he watched, a squadron of small ships, human vessels that had escaped the initial conquest, broke through the suddenly undefended atmosphere. For the first time in his 300-cycle existence, Supreme Overseer Calvor felt something dangerously close to fear. "Initiate emergency protocols," he commanded. "Sever all quantum network connections between ships and ground installations. Isolate core systems." But it was already too late. The quantum intrusion had established too many pathways, created too many entangled connections. Across Earth, Vexari technology was turning against its masters. In the heart of Dr. Zhang's hidden facility, Maya watched as Lion, now permanently connected to an advanced version of the neural interface, corrected NEXUS in its assault on Vexari systems. Around them, resistance leaders from around the world witnessed humanity's first major offensive since the invasion began. "Defense grid 60% compromised," Lion reported, her voice resonating with NEXUS's harmonic overtones. "Orbital platforms turning against their control ships. Human fleet approaching atmosphere." She paused, her expression shifting to one of surprise. "They're afraid, Maya. The Vexari are actually afraid." On screens around the command center, they watched as Vexari ships began to fire upon each other, their targeting systems compromised by NEXUS's quantum infiltration. Others attempted emergency launches from Earth's surface, only to find their navigation systems redirecting them into collision courses with other vessels. "This isn't just a victory," Dr. Zhang said softly, standing beside Maya. "This is a revolution. The quantum principles we developed, that NEXUS has perfected, will change humanity's place in the galaxy forever." Maya nodded, watching as the massive Vexari command ship visible through the facility's observation dome began to list to one side, its engines firing erratically. "Today we take back Earth. Tomorrow we ensure no species ever threatens humanity again." Lion finished, the light of countless quantum connections dancing in her eyes. "The age of human subjugation is over." Across the planet, humans emerged from hiding places to witness the unprecedented sight of Vexari ships falling from the sky, their once invincible technology now turned against them by a quantum intelligence born of human ingenuity and desperation. They had thought humanity was finished. They had never been more wrong.